Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Lexus LC 500. I am super excited to do this review because, as you all know, I'm definitely considering purchasing one of these for the channel. It's a super sweet car. So, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the car, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Lexus here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the LC 500. Check out their inventory in the link below. Under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy on this particular engine is going to be 16 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 471 horsepower and then 398 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over things on the front end of the LC 500. Let's start with the lights. I love these lights on the LC 500, especially this little accent light here. So you can see it's the Lexus check mark. It goes all the way into the headlight cluster. It's a really cool look. And then you can see all the little projector bulbs. Again, a really cool look. And then I love how it kind of like comes down here with a little bit of venting. It just kind of just like abruptly goes down. And then the rest of the front grille, I feel like this is the best iteration on Lexus's front grille design, just with how they've done like the weave and everything, and the size on it is just perfect. You did get a couple parking sensors down the front, and then it kind of comes off being like a faux like front splitter type deal. And yeah, that venting looks super cool. But here's just kind of one more look at the front end of the LC 500. Now coming to the side here, let's go over the rims first and foremost. So we've got 21-inch rims in the front and in the back, 245mm, 275mm for the tire width. And then in terms of the actual rim design, I really like it. They've got these little black inserts right there on the inside part of the rim. It says Lexus all over the brake calipers, and then there's the Lexus logo there on the center cap as well. I think just overall it's a really cool look, and you can see just how massive those rotors are. I mean, they fill up pretty much the whole rim, which is crazy. Now, the side view of the Lexus LC 500, I think this is one of its best angles. My favorite angle is going to be the rear, which we'll get over to that in just a moment. But the side here is actually pretty good looking. I like how they've done like two-tone on the mirror, so the bottom part is white, the top part's black. Obviously, the roof is black as well. And then this little venting right here on the side, obviously not sure if that's functional or not, but it looks cool. And then here's kind of like a full side view on the LC 500. Here's our key fob for the LC 500. It's just like all of the other upgraded Lexuses. It has really nice materials on it. Kind of have like this nice little feeling material right there. But anyways, it's got pretty much all the same functionality. So you've got your lock function at the top, you've got unlock in the middle, and then the trunk release. And then if we lock it, I'll see if it has remote start. I tried to do this earlier and it didn't start up, so... Oh, now it's working for me, of course. So there you go, you've got remote start on it. And you guys get the first here on the exhaust. Now if you press that button again, that'll shut it back off. And then the next one is going to be the trunk release, so just hold that down, and then that will unlatch it, and then you just have to do the rest of the work yourself. Now lifting up the trunk itself, the opening is actually pretty wide, so you could fit a good amount of stuff in here. The loading floor itself is relatively shallow. I mean, you can see it's just barely over like a hand length long, and then the depth on it is pretty decent as well. All the floor mats are back there on top of that, but I mean, for the type of car that this is, I feel like the storage space is actually relatively good back there. Now if we kind of close that down, you're all good. Now let's go over my favorite part on the LC 500, and this is the rear end. I've got the lights on so you guys can see what those look like, and it is crazy. Got the Lexus logo there, LC 500, just down below. You do get more parking sensors here in the rear. You've got the exhaust tips, and I know that that part actually isn't the exhaust, but it still looks cool, and the part above it is interesting. It doesn't look as good in like pictures and video, but in person it actually looks really neat. Now I love the turn signals, how they kind of come down. It's a very unique look, and then you've got the Lexus check mark there to the side, and just the look at the rear end here is just absolutely crazy. I love it. So yeah. Now the last thing in the back here is the little spoilers. So this will deploy automatically at higher speeds, but then you also have a button you can press. I'll show you guys in the interior where you can raise it. And I mean, this is not like obnoxiously large or anything like that. Obviously when it's down, it's really clean with the bodywork, but when you pop it up, it kind of gives it kind of this just like cool little sporty look in the rear. So again, spoiler, huge positive. Now let's head to the front. Now, this is probably the coolest party trick here of the LC 500. So that's how you lock it, and then the mirrors will power fold in. And then how you unlock it is you just press this out, and I mean, it's the same door handle as what's like on a Lamborghini Huracan, so huge props to Lexus for doing that. Now the door panel itself is absolutely beautiful. You have really nice soft touch leather here at the top of the door panel. You've got the kind of like Alcantara inserts, and sorry about all the snow, guys, but you got more soft touch here as well. Like, just everything on the door panel is extremely nice here in the LC 500, and well, it's your favorite part of the video, guys, where I have to kind of hop in the back. So getting in the back isn't as bad as I thought. So you grab this little latch, and you can actually see that the seat will automatically slide forward, which then aids with getting in the back. And as always, gotta put the key fob there, and yeah, this one's gonna be fun. So we've gotta just kind of squish ourselves back here, and oh, I can't get it fully. Okay. Well, I'm not going to put the seat back because then it literally, I mean, look at this seat. There is, I have legs. So if you don't have legs, then you can fit here. And also, you kind of have to like lean really far back because trying to sit up completely against the ceiling. So reserve this backseat area for small children with no legs. Make sure they have no legs. But I mean, it's really nice back here. So other than the fact that it's cramped, I mean, you get the nice center console, like the back end of it. This is really soft. The seats are actually really comfortable, other than the fact that you have no headroom. So Lexus has actually done a good job. And I mean, the inserts continue here. There is a little bit of plastic in this back part, but I mean, I don't think they actually expected anyone to use the seats back here. Now, before we pop in, another cool party trick is when you put the seat rest back, it'll automatically kind of go back to where you had it before. Now, I've got to back the seat up just a little bit more for my personal comfort, but actually getting into the LC 500, you do have to step over this door sill, which is kind of big, but when you get in, it's actually relatively easy to get in. We'll shut the door here. Let's start up the LC 500. Just got to put my foot on the brake, push the push start, and you will hear that glorious V8 come to life, which, yeah, it's amazing. So you got the starting graphic there for the center. I'm actually going to turn it off. There is a separate starting graphic for the little screen right here. I like this. I like the little center stack better than the screen. The screen just basically says Lexus, but it's kind of funny that they give you like two different animations on startup. So here is the steering wheel on the LC 500. If we zoom in on it, Lexus logo's in the center, and you got nice stitching and then leather on the airbag cover here, which is actually pretty nice. Now, you've got all your controls for like cruise control, you've got the collision assistance, lane departure assistance, all the normal safety tech. And then this part of the steering wheel is grippier, where you're actually gonna grab it, whereas the top portion is very soft leather. And then over here, you've got your buttons for like the phone controls, voice commands, all that kind of stuff. Then gigantic paddle shifters, and they actually feel really nice. Actuation on them, just pressing them. I mean, again, that feels nice as well. And then over here is the stock for the lights, and then over here is the stock for the windshield wipers. Now, before we get into the gauge cluster, I just wanted to go over the controls on the door. So you got your memory seats, all the controls for like the mirrors, all that kind of adjustability, and then like the trunk release right here, and then that's to release the gas cap. And then notice that even this little area right here, they kind of do like little stitching on it. So there's stitching pretty much everywhere in the car. Like everything's just like soft touch and stitching and nice. Now, this might be my favorite part of the LC 500. So we'll go over the normal stuff in the gauge cluster. There's a couple different like screens that you can go through. So it'll show you little options. You notice that the screen actually moves over to the side, which again, that's pretty cool. Now you can see all those other screens are pretty normal. And then if we just go back, so it's this little button that I'm pressing here, and that's what's actually moving the screen itself, which I think is neat. Now, if you have the gauge cluster in the center, I want to go over the drive modes now. This is the coolest party trick of the LC 500. So the drive modes are here on the side. I'll show you that dial again in just a moment. But if I go to, let's say, comfort, for example, it'll actually change how everything looks. You see eco. Now, the nicest ones is sport, and then sport plus. And it doesn't necessarily move the numbers, but it kind of exemplifies, what am I trying to say? It kind of like accentuates the red line, and so it looks really nice. I mean, just look at that. It's such a cool sporty look. I mean, if I had one of these, I would drive it in Sport Plus mode just because the gauge cluster looks cool. I've got the center infotainment system. First, I'm going to show you the camera part of it. The backup camera on this, it doesn't look like there's any 360 camera or anything. It's just a traditional backup camera, but The actual appearance on it is actually really nice, just like the camera quality is actually good, so it's pretty easy to park the car. It's not a massive car, so I really don't feel the need to have a 360 camera system. But this is used with Lexus's touchpad, so the touchpad's just down in this area, which again, I'll show you that to you guys a little bit later. But actually going over the touchscreen itself, you can see that you've got to use the touchpad to do the different things. You do get heated and ventilated seats in this. It's kind of funny you get a concierge with the Lexus stuff. But I guess just going through the rest of the infotainment system, using kind of like the dials and this little Lexus pad itself, I mean, it takes a second to get used to kind of figure this out, but once you figure it out, it's relatively easy to use. I would prefer touchscreen, I will say that, but you know, now that I've kind of gotten used to using this infotainment system, it's okay, as long as I don't have to like hardcore use it. But you can see like the zoom function here on the navigation. I mean, it works really well, just like a touchscreen. It's just that it's in two different places where you're touching and then where the screen is. Now, down from the touchscreen is the whole climate control system. So we've got more nice kind of like stitching in this whole area. That's also where the stop start button is. But everything in this car, like button wise, even the little hazard light button, all of it feels really nice. Just all this material. The climate controls, the feedback on them is exceptional. I mean, just pressing the buttons, it just feels like you're doing something significant. I know that that's oversaid, but it just, I don't know how to explain it. They just have a really nice feel on all of the buttons. And I've got this little area right here where obviously that's a cup holder, and I mean, it would kind of get in the way, but if you had a small enough like little cup of coffee, that would work out fine. But even the material on top of this feels nice to the touch. Here is our gear selector, which I'll go over that in just a minute. This is that whole trackpad that I was going over. So you have the trackpad itself, and then you have like all of the radio controls just on top of the trackpad. And then we have the center console, which you have to kind of like slide it back this way, and then it opens towards the driver. So it's, I guess, supposed to be a driver focused car. That's another cup holder, which yeah, anyways, the actual center console lined with felt. There's a good amount of storage space in here, other than the fact that it only opens towards the driver, and then the fact that you also have to like slide it back to use it is also kind of weird, but it looks nice. Now let's go over this shifter. This is pretty much the same shifter that's going to be in all of the future Lexuses, I imagine. It takes a second to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty intuitive. So over, if you hold it down, that puts it into neutral, and then if you put it over and put it up, that puts it into reverse, and then over and pull it down, that puts it into drive, and then down again will put it into manual, and then if you put it over and again, that's what puts it back into drive from manual, at least from what I've known how to use this on. That's your hold button. This is pretty cool. So this is the rear wing to raise and lower it like I showed you earlier. So this shows me the rear wing position. You can see it's flush with the bodywork. Now if I hold it, now it's going to be illuminated green to tell me that the wing is up, and also the button will be illuminated. Now if I hold it down again, then on the little screen right there, the wing will go down, and then this will no longer be illuminated. Now I just want to go over the dash quickly. Up here you've got nice Alcantara stitching. It looks really nice, kind of for like the driver cockpit area. It's just a nice little cool look there. The rest of the dash, really nice leather with stitching. It's just a very luxurious looking area. The clock there, a little bit out of place, but I actually like it. Just seeing it here in person, I think it's actually a pretty cool look, so I'm not going to complain there on that. And then this is not screen or anything. It's kind of got that weird design behind it, but it kind of continues to be a little screen. Now, this is the most luxurious glove box of all time, pretty much. But before I get into that, the vents. The vents are interesting. They all kind of point up, and there's that one that's normal, and that one that's kind of normal. But these ones all in the middle just kind of point up, so it's interesting. But anyways, you got nice leather above the glove box, and then boom. Like, yeah, I need to press a button to open my glove box. The glove box itself is okay in size. It's not massive, but it's got nice materials all around it. I mean, even the bottom part of the glove box, which most manufacturers use plastic on that, it's still leather, soft touch. So Lexus has just killed it with the interior on this. Now up top here, there's nothing too crazy. You just have like the lights up here, the mirror, all that kind of stuff. The mirror itself, interesting look to it. Just kind of has like an old school look, which I actually like in this particular car. Now the headliner itself, again, is more of the suede material. As you can see a little finger marks on it. But yeah, I really like the feel of the headliner. I know that headliner isn't supposed to be something that is really important because it's above you and you don't usually touch it, but when you do have a nice premium headliner like this, you kind of tend to just touch it a little bit, but it makes the interior of the car just look a whole lot more premium, and obviously it matches kind of like the lower touches on the car. Well, let's wrap things up on the interior of the LC500 by going over pricing. So this particular LC500, before any type of market adjustment, and let me say this again, market adjustment means that the car could go above or below MSRP, just depends on what the market is for that particular car. But anyways, the MSRP is $106,000, which I know that sounds like big money, but I've been in 911s and their interior is good, but I mean, the interior on this is just so much nicer, it's just so much more well put together. This is definitely like just such a good luxury car just from like an interior perspective. But that all being said, let's take the LC500 out to see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the LC500, and sadly it's snowing, so this is gonna be an interesting review. But visibility over the hood, it actually slopes down abruptly, and so it's really easy to see over the hood. Most sports cars, when they have longer hoods like this, it's really hard to see, but this one just slopes down so much that it's really easy to see over it. Visibility throughout the mirrors, they're an interesting shape, but it's actually pretty good to see throughout the mirrors. And then the rear is really easy to see out because you can see just how massive the rear window is, and so you can very easily see out the rear window, and the headrest on the seat is exceptionally soft. So over to drive, and let's set off. Initially setting off, the thing that I noticed right off the bat with this car is actually the rear wheel steer that this car has. So what it does essentially is it will turn the back wheels in the opposite direction as it's turning the front wheels at lower speeds, and then at higher speeds it'll turn the wheels in the same direction. Like right here, making this turn, it just turns so sharp, so it makes the car so much easier to maneuver. Actually setting off here in the LC500, I want to discuss road noise and ride quality first and foremost. Now in terms of the ride quality, this is really smooth. Like, yeah, when you hit like harder things on the road, then yeah, you'll feel it just a little bit because of the 21-inch wheels, but yeah, I mean, this is so smooth. I am super impressed, and right now I'm just in the normal setting. I will go over into the sport now, which I'm sure that's what most people will drive it in, is the sport mode. And actually we're going to take another turn up here so we can kind of test out that rear wheel steer again, since we're going at slower speeds. And yeah, it's so direct. I mean, it's crazy how easy this car is to steer. I mean, it's a bigger vehicle, but it just, I mean, it drives like it's so much smaller. I like that little heads-up display up there too. But yeah, super smooth. Now in terms of the noise that comes through, I do hear quite a bit of tire noise. It's super windy outside, so I'm hearing a little bit of wind noise, but I mean, it's pretty well insulated overall though, actually thinking about it. I mean, just listening to everything that's happening, you hear a little bit with the bumps and all that, but it definitely is super solid so far as a luxury car. We are going to turn it into the Sport Sharp for the acceleration, and we're going to go into the manual setting. And just sitting here at the stoplight, I mean, I hear a little bit of V8 rumble, but at low speeds, I mean, the engine, you hear a little bit of it coming through, but it's not super intrusive into the cabin. But the sounds that you do hear are absolutely fantastic. And now we're going to get a little acceleration here. Oh my goodness, I am in love. That sounds so good. Oh my, like, I have seen so many reviews on this car and I have heard so many things, but actually getting to drive it myself, oh my, That sounds so good. Okay, I've got to get that just one more time. Just okay, guys, just let the like 12-year-old in me have my moment. Oh my gosh. That is by far one of the best sounding engines, and I mean for a V8, oh my goodness, it sounds incredible. I don't think there's anything else I need to say. Like, oh my gosh, and that's stock. Like, this car sounds that good stock. And coming up here, I'm at a little bit of a higher speed, so the rear wheel steer is not going to be on, and it feels so stable. Like, this car corners so flat. It's amazing. I am so impressed with this LC 500. This is such a good package. I can't believe, like, man, this is such a cool car. Oh my gosh, and the downshifts. Oh my gosh. This sounds so good. Okay, we're not gonna accelerate hard because of the roads. Oh, and once you get everything like up and going, it actually shifts and really quick. Oh my gosh, those downshifts are ridiculous. Like, this car sounds so amazing. That's gonna be half the video, is just me talking about how good this car sounds. So this is purely just for the video. Even when you just do, I mean, everything is so quick. The upshifts and the downshifts. Oh, like, it happens. I mean, as soon as I press the paddle, like, my Raptor has a 10-speed automatic, and it's not this responsive when I press the paddles. Like, this is, as soon as I press it, it happens. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. And, well, I'm gonna get another acceleration here. Not like anything super crazy, but this is purely, I mean, like, I am saying, like, with complete honesty, this is purely for educational purposes. Oh my goodness. This car is, oh my gosh, I love this so much. So we're gonna put it back into automatic mode, sadly. Gonna put it back into the normal, like the comfort eco setting. And I mean, it just went from like straight like race car sounds to now this is like, it's just like a comfortable car I could drive. Just like sitting here, just kind of like driving around like nothing's happening. It's crazy. This car changes character so well. And I know a lot of people will say that about cars, but I mean, I really mean it with the LC 500. It's such a good all-around car. No, it's not like a crazy fast supercar, but it's more than enough power, and it sounds fantastic. That just the packaging, just everything about it, and the looks, I mean, it looks like a spaceship. Everything about this car, it is definitely such a complete package. So, oh man, I think I need to get my wallet out. And there we have it, everyone, the all-new 2020 Lexus LC 500. This is such a sweet car. No, it's not like a supercar or like a crazy sports car. It's more of like a crazy luxury car. That's the best way to look at this, is this is like a luxury car, but it's also a crazy luxury car that's kind of like a muscle luxury car. I feel like that's a good way to look at it. Think of like a Challenger, but then it's super luxurious. I think that's the best way to look at it. But anyways, again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Lexus here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the LC 500. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in that next